In the beginning of these videos, there were 3 questions that helped us come to a fair academic conclusion on the topic. Is ISIS in fact Islamic? Here are the questions we considered. Does ISIS consider itself religious? If so, is there a connection between the organization and its adopted religion? So after everything you and I learned through these videos, I think it's safe to say yes, ISIS does consider itself Islamic. But if you remember, this question alone is not sufficient enough to conclude concretely whether Islam is being defamed because of ISIS or whether ISIS is founded upon Islamic principles. So this leads us to our next question, number 2. Does ISIS consciously, intentionally relate its behavior to its adopted religion, Islam? So I say clearly yes. Ample examples and context was offered to conclude that ISIS is in fact conscious and intentional, following the early Islamic traditions known as the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. And finally, 3. Does ISIS have Islamic precedents to justify their actions? Does Islamic theology, based on Islamic credible sources, encourage or discourage ISIS behavior? Well, we found that yes, there exists a shocking correlation within Islamic tradition and the beliefs that ISIS has been imposing and enforcing. So as we started these lessons, you will remember that you learned that sincere seekers who want to study religion unbiasedly must go to the source of that religion. Why? Simply because the truth of the matter is always found at the source. The correct way to study any religion is to historically get as close to the founder of that religion as possible. So to study Judaism, study Moses and the things that Moses taught in the Torah. To study Christianity, study Jesus and the things that Jesus taught. And finally, to study Islam, one has to study the life of Muhammad. There's no way around it. What was his traditions? What things did he say? What did those closest to him say? Believe your pastor, for example, but when your pastor speaks against the scripture, believe the scripture more. Listen to the rabbi, but the Torah religiously in Judaism is more higher, it's more authoritative than the rabbi's opinion. The confusion, however, begins when ISIS is in fact following the example of the founder of Islam. And those traditions don't quite, well, not quite, but those traditions blatantly don't fit within the modern era. Now, I'm not trying to say something hateful. This is not an attack upon Islam. Rather, it's a fact, it's a matter of fact. Islam has many beautiful qualities within it, but some of the less than qualities, they have to be addressed, or else innocent Muslims, Christians, and Jews will be the victims of ISIS. We have concluded that without any shadow of a doubt, ISIS is following the purest form of Islam, the same Islam that was founded by Muhammad. Knowing that religions must work within the dimension of time, we all know that religions evolve into a more complete picture. Perhaps it's time for the Muslim community to rise up against these horrendous actions and teachings which are clearly obvious within Islamic sources. One thing is for sure, this evolving of Islam will only happen when good, kind-hearted Muslims take a stand and practice noble courage, because it takes courage to look inward and admit to yourself that something has to change. It takes even more courage when individuals have to rise up in the midst of their communities and say, hey, something's got to give. So next time you hear a politician quote pre-abrogated out of context Meccan verses from the Qur'an, or if you hear a celebrity get all weird because someone is saying that there are things needing to be questioned within Islam, you should rest assured knowing that through this series you have had a full dose of facts. And in fact, you are more aware of this issue now since we began this journey together. If you are a peaceful Muslim watching this, and most of you are, and I know that's the truth, I invite you to study your own religion and see for yourself if it is as peaceful as you were taught. To the Muslim community, on behalf of all the non-Muslims, we ask you to fix what needs to be fixed.